This story begins early one morning about 6 o'clock, just as you could barely see how to get through the woods. It was a nice cool morning, a little bit of a breeze, not much, but you could just see the light starting to come up through the trees before the sunrise. I felt this was a good time to go while things were still calm and before the animals and birds and stuff started getting started with their day. He was a good friend of mine, and he had 400 acres and said I could hunt anywhere on there. Just as long as I find the spot and tell him where I'm hunting, that was fine. 400 acres, believe me, when you get lost in them, they become 1,000, which is what happened to me that day. I always carried a gun on me. I always carried a hunting knife and extra water to stay hydrated. And I had left my vehicle there, and I had started walking. And he told me about which way to go as far as to get into the woods and about how the lay of the land was. Well, I told him, I said, what I'll do, I told him I was going to put ribbons up about every 50 yards so I could find my way back. And he said that'd be a good idea because he said I've lived there all my life and I know the place well, but even I can still get turned around at times. So I knew what I was up against, but I was excited at the same time that this was possibly be some prime deer hunting area. And I was really excited about it. I love to be in the woods. I'm not afraid to be in there by myself. But I had no clue of what my day was about to behold to me. And it's like nothing I've ever experienced. I'm about 20 minutes into the woods out of a field that he had told me to start at. I'm walking through the woods kind of quietly, just looking around, kind of getting a feel of the things and of the area. In about 50 yards, I tie a yellow ribbon about 3 feet long, just in a little light knot so I can untie it when I come back and not leave them there. After I get deep up into the woods, I've tied about my 5th ribbon onto a limb that I knew wasn't going to break, fall, that I would be able to see when I start coming back. I start getting through the woods, and then it kind of, then the trees thin out just a little bit, and I walk up on a creek. I'm just kind of looking around, looking for deer, looking for signs, things like that. And I looked to my left, and I had already looked there once when I first walked up. And I looked over to my left, and about 20 yards out stood a full-grown wolf. My heart jumped up in my throat because I know they run in packs. And if there's one there, there's others somewhere close by. Well, that's when the hair on the back of my neck stood up a little bit. And I'm going, okay, there's only 2 ways out of this. One is to shoot my way out, or number 2 is climb a tree where they can't get to me, because unfortunately wolves can't climb trees. I'm sitting there, just swallowed hard, and I just turn and I face this wolf. And he just looks at me, and he starts walking away from me. Calm, he wasn't doing it fast, he wasn't looking back, he just calmly walked off. Thinking like, well, he was just curious who I was, and he's not curious any longer, so I felt a little safer. I said, okay, I've gone as far as I need to go today, and kind of head back a little bit. There was a couple real nice spots that I wanted to talk to him about. As I started walking back toward my ribbon, there wasn't one. And I couldn't understand that. There was no way I tied a knot good enough that I could get it loose, but good enough that it wasn't going to just blow off. There wasn't a big enough breach for that. And that just baffled me. I'm going like, I don't understand. It was here. Where is it now, So I'm taking my best guess, and I start walking in a direction in about as straight a line as I could, which I was trying to do the whole way out there. I get about to where the second one was. It's not there. There was no limb broke where the ribbon was hanging. At this time I was going like, okay, I know that wolf that I saw. I know they didn't do it because there would be shreds of it here somewhere. There was nothing. I go on to where I think about where the next ribbon would be coming back out of the woods. It wasn't there. But I looked off to my right about 10 yards and I could see it laying on the ground. So cautiously looking around, I walked up to it. I pick it up, and the way the ribbon looked, it had just been simply untied. It wasn't pulled apart, yanked off the limb, or nothing. It was just simply untied and discarded. At that point I thought, well, maybe my neighbor, my friend, maybe he's just kind of playing with me. And I called out to him. No answer. Like, okay, he would be the type that would answer you and say, okay, enough's enough, having a little fun, that's it. But I got no answer. And I'm walking, not realizing that I'm actually walking away from where I was at, because 4 of the ribbons that I thought I had tied very well, with the exception of finding one on the ground, were non-existent. And I'm really not understanding what's going on here, Then out of nowhere I see this wolf again up in front of me, just up on a little old hill there. And he's just looking down at me, same way. Nothing threatening, didn't see any other wolf anywhere around. It was just him, and he would just look at me. Then he turned around and started walking away. At that point I'm thinking, I'm just, like I said, I'm baffled. I don't know what to think. I don't understand what's going on. Is there somebody else out here that doesn't want me in these woods, Well, immediately, I just started really looking around. And I get up to this one area of the woods, and I see this wolf yet again. He's about the same distance from me. He never came any closer than about 20 yards to me. And when he turned and started walking away, he stopped and looked back at me, and then turned and walked off. My inclination said to follow him. And that was the best thing that I had done. Because when I started following this wolf at a distance, he led me right back to where I had went into the woods. And all of the ribbons from there, from the first one I tied at the opening, was gone. The wolf had turned and looked at me at an even further distance, and they went away from my friend's house but back into the woods. And when they did, that's when I saw about 7 others leave with him. They never stopped, looked at me, and I just trotted back into the woods. I'm sitting there thinking like, yeah, but still, I don't understand, I think the good Lord guided me out of those woods and kept me out of trouble. But when I got to my friend's house, I told him what had happened. And he just looked at me real stern. He said, did you find any of the ribbons? I said, yeah, I found one untied about 30 yards away from where I thought I had it tied. And he said, well, what it is there's an escapee that's been out and in the area. We've been trying to find him for months now. They know he's hanging around out here somewhere, but they can't catch him. Said that may have been who it was. Didn't want you coming back down in here and find him. Maybe you were closer to him than what they knew, or what you realized. If that doesn't make you rethink going back into the woods even in daylight alone, I still go back into the woods. I would still go back into those woods, but I wouldn't do it alone. I hope you enjoyed this little story. Thank you.